NFL Week 15 is here, and you're watching the 4Ps, parlays, player props, and predictions. In this video, we begin with this week's anytime touchdown parlay of the week, coming in at plus 750 odds. Then we go into a couple player props I love for Sunday, including my favorite play of the week, which is a 1.5 unit play. And then we wrap up the video with a couple other props, including a same game parlay. If you are new, my name's Austin. Thank you for tuning in. We post a bunch of other NFL videos, so don't miss out on those. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and drop a like. But as always, we start with a recap of how we did on Thursday. It was an 0-2 day. Technically, one of our plays was only a half-unit play. Deebo Samuel, he sucked, just like I've been sucking. And Jake Moody probably should have hit. He hit his over in field goals, but they didn't even score a touchdown, so no extra points. Probably could have kicked another field goal, but Brock Purdy threw an interception on second or third down in the red zone or right outside of it. I know it's been pretty bad the last few weeks. I acknowledge it. It sucks. I hate coming on here and giving you guys losing picks, and you're welcome to fade. But I would argue this is the wrong time to fade. If you've ever followed the stock market, you know the saying, buy the dip. And right now, I'm at my valley. I'm right at the bottom at my floor. Buy the dip. We're having a massive week 15, and it begins with our anytime touchdown parlay of the week. 3 fellas to get into the end zone. We're heading right to the 425 window, and we begin with Jahmyr Gibbs and Josh Allen, both in that big Detroit Lions versus Buffalo Bills game with an over-under at 54.5. And then we end with A.J. Brown to also get in the end zone. All 3 of these guys parlayed is about plus 746 on FanDuel. Look, I don't need to talk about each of these guys too much. Jahmyr Gibbs has been a touchdown fiend this season. Sure, David Montgomery gets his. Jahmyr Gibbs is getting it too. He can do it in the air, can do it on the ground. I think he has a big day. Josh Allen, I haven't decided yet. I'm still deciding on all our plays for Sunday. If Josh Allen, I take his regular bet for 1 unit, it's like plus 120. I really like him to get in the end zone. He's done it in 4 straight. We know at the end of last season, he was absolutely a touchdown cash cow, and we saw him last week, 3 touchdowns. When they get on the one, they're giving some rushing. He's just getting QB sneaks, some tush push type things, and we know Josh Allen can run with the best of them. So I like him. A.J. Brown, I like him as well. We've heard the news, him addressing the passing game. They're going to force feed the ball to him. A.J. Brown might get into the end zone in the first quarter. So I like all three guys, plus 746. Parlay them together. I think we get a good chance at cashing that one. That's my touchdown parlay of the week. Now we move into 3 props that I love for Sunday. We'll start with my favorite one of the weekend, and it is a guy that is in the anytime touchdown parlay. My favorite prop is A.J. Brown over 79.5 receiving yards, minus 110 on ESPN Bet, a 1.5 unit play. Now, I would have made this a 2-unit play. However, I will spoil something. I will have a half unit on A.J. Brown to record a reception on the Eagles' first drive. The problem I can't put that in the video is because I don't know what the line is right now. Now, obviously, if they make the line weird and something I don't see any value in, I won't take it. But I'm really going to be putting a half unit on him to get a first drive reception. I just think this is a guy that they're going to force feed the ball to. Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown are pretty good friends. When A.J. Brown says something in the media, you better believe Jalen Hurts is listening. And while sure, the Eagles passing game has not been the most prolific this season, when A.J. Brown speaks up, the ball's coming his way, and it will come his way plenty on Sunday. Now, A.J. Brown is over this line. He's 80-plus receiving yards in 6 of 10. He is under, though, in 2 straight with 66 and then 43. Now, like I said, this is a Eagles passing attack that, sure, there's not a ton of volume, but when there is volume, where's it going? It's going to A.J. Brown. And we've seen since week 9, the Pittsburgh Steelers actually haven't had the best defense. 3rd most receiving yards allowed to wide receivers. A.J. Brown has a 5.5 receptions line. And if you look at his 5+ receptions, that's minus 210. He's over this line in 14 of his last 20 with 5 or more receptions. Now, I don't even know if he needs 5 receptions to catch this one. Last week, we saw him with a ton of one-on-one opportunities. And what happened? Well, they didn't throw it his way. Jalen Hurts was nervous. He was throwing the checkdowns, overthrowing those guys left and right. If A.J. Brown is in one-on-one coverage in this game on Sunday, the ball is being thrown to A.J. Brown. The only way I see this losing is if they just decide to hold on to A.J. Brown and he racks up 100-plus defensive pass interference yards, which certainly could happen. But again, I don't see it happening. They could double him if they want, but I think they're going to be more focused on trying to stop the run, which is the big thing in this Eagles offense. I love A.J. Brown on Sunday. Like I said, I'll be sprinkling on him to get a reception on the first drive. I think he has a massive first quarter, massive first half. He's getting the ball a ton. He's just like the Deebo Samuel play on Thursday. But the problem with that is AJ Brown's actually good. Deebo Samuel's washed up. AJ Brown's having a massive day. Give me his over 79.5 receiving yards for 1.5 units. Stay tuned for the other videos when we try to put those half units on him to record a reception, first drive, and whatnot. Let's move to our second play, which is going to be a same game parlay. I'm going to have a couple more of these this week because they kind of been holding us up. We've done pretty well on them this season, and I really like this two-leg one. It's obviously very correlated, and it is CJ Stroud of the Houston Texans for 225 or more passing yards, parlayed with his teammate Nico Collins to have 70+ receiving yards. You combine these together, it's minus 130 on DraftKings, a simple, responsible one-unit play. On FanDuel, it's minus 135. So not really a big difference here. I think Bet365 was around minus 150. I honestly think this should be closer to minus 200. They obviously go hand in hand. If CJ Stroud's getting pass yards, you probably assume most of them are going Nico Collins' way. Now, this is a game against the Miami Dolphins. Now, the Dolphins are a team that plays pretty fast. They can put up points. But what I like most about the Dolphins is their defense is really good at stopping the run, knock on wood. Since week 7, the Dolphins have allowed just 71 rushing yards per game, the 4th lowest, at just 3.8 yards per carry, the 5th lowest to running backs. So they've been really good at slowing down running backs. So we should see them hopefully do the same thing to Joe Mixon. Now the Texans are coming off a bye week, so I'm sure they'll figure out some things. But again, hopefully that is more figuring out, hey, can we pass block a little bit better? Because their pass blocking hasn't been too great this season. But again, I think this is a good spot for CJ Stroud. And we've seen he's averages in 266 passing yards in 8 games with Nico Collins active. He's at 225 or more in 7 of 8. His only miss, 215 versus the Minnesota Vikings. That was a game that CJ Stroud did not play the final drive of the game because they were getting blown out. How would I know that? Well, because I had his over in pass attempts and I needed 1 or 2 pass attempts, and they benched him for Drew Mills or Davis Mills. Pissed me off. But we've seen the last 7 QBs to face Miami. These are their numbers: 307, 235, 293, 282, 222, 274, and 339 passing yards. So this is a defense that has given up a lot of pass yards, especially to deep plays. And we know Nico Collins, he's a big play waiting to happen. And we've seen this season, you look at his numbers on the screen, I'm not going to read all of them off, but the only game he's gone under this line was the game he played 47% of snaps. He got injured in. He had one game he barely played, but he had like a 70+ yard reception on one of the first plays of the game. We saw last week the Jets, Aaron Rodgers threw for over 300. He hadn't done that since like 2010. All right, joking aside, I think it had been like 33 straight games. But again, Garrett Wilson, Devontae Adams, both at 100+. Nico Collins, sure, you can double him. All it takes is one play. He finds a way over the seam routes and all these things. He's like a 40+ yard catch waiting to happen. I love this parlay with 2 guys that really go together in what I appear to be a very good matchup. I like CJ Stroud for 225. I like Nico Collins to have at least 70 of it. I like that at minus 130 on DraftKings for one responsible unit. My final play in this video, as I said, there's going to be a lot of props this week, and I'm unloading the clip. I think eventually some regression is going to come our way. Some variance is going to come our way where it's like, hey, we've been making some good reads. Sure, bad reads, I've said, but we're making good reads and they just haven't hit. Eventually, those are going to go our way. And I'd rather not be sitting on the sidelines and picking up 2 units, or we could probably pick up 5, 6, 7, 8, which certainly is possible. Let's dive into my final play, one that you guys will absolutely love. Joe Burrow, the Cincinnati Bengals, under 278.5 passing yards, minus 110. I'm bet at 365. I know. Get out the comments. You're an idiot. You're fading Joe Burrow. And it could seem like an idiot move, as I've been pretty cold, now fading one of the most red-hot QBs in the league. However, Joe Burrow does have some off-the-field distractions. His house was burglarized. But joking aside, not really joking about that. That's a serious thing. I don't like this matchup for Joe Burrow. Now, has he had 300 yards or more in 4 straight? Yes. But again, he's faced some pretty bad secondaries. Now I think this is one of the tougher secondaries to face in the Tennessee Titans, and tougher scheme. If we're thinking just about scheme-wise, who's he facing? He's facing his former offensive coordinator, Brian Callahan. So again, if there's going to be a team to game plan for Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, it's probably his former coach, if you will, his former offensive coordinator that spent probably hours and hours a day with Joe Burrow. And we've seen 13 QBs that have faced the Titans this year. One of them has had 250 yards. That was Josh Allen. He had a big day. Now, obviously, Joe Burrow is one of one. This passing attack for the Bengals is one of the best, if not the best, in the league. So I'm not going to necessarily take yards from Mac Jones and be like, oh, Joe Burrow can barely beat Mac Jones. But again, we think about Tennessee. They're at home here. I feel like this is a spot the defense shows up. And I think about their offense, too. Pretty slow playing team. Since week 10, Tennessee, 4th slowest pace in the NFL. They chew the clock. And Will Levis is a shoulder injury, so I just don't think they have a lot of explosiveness on this team. And we see Tennessee allows the 3rd lowest yards per pass attempt, fewest pass yards per game. They've dealt with some injuries in the secondary and still been really, really good. I just don't see Joe Burrow getting to 280 plus yards. If he does, tip my cap to him. This is one of the tougher matchups in the league. I think this is a Titans offense that is able to keep this game tight. And I think if they're keeping it tight, it's going to be because they're chewing the clock. They really don't score on big plays. And given I need Calvin Ridley to have a big day, he ain't helping at all. So I think this is a good spot to fade Joe Burrow, coming off just a great stretch of games. He's been really good, but I just don't love the spot for him. So I'll take his under. I think a lot has to go right to get 280 yards. Number one, there can't be any really defensive pass interferences. So that's tough. Number two, Will Levis, we know he's prone to making boneheaded decisions. If he throws a pick six, that ruins a whole Joe Burrow drive. I just think there's a lot of different outcomes here where Joe Burrow does not get to 280 pass yards. So, look, you don't have to tail it. I don't care. I really like that one at under 278.5. And CLV's been on my way as it's down to 274.5. So if you want to fade, you get an even better line to fade at. So, look, I really like these three plays. Nico Collins and CJ Stroud combo. Joe Burrow's over or under, and then AJ Brown's over, my biggest play of the weekend. Again, I'll have a lot more plays in future videos posted later on Saturday. I might even do a separate Sunday video as well with some more plays. Let's have a week. Let's have a big week 15. I know I've sucked recently. You don't have to beat it in my head in the comments. It's hard to sleep at night knowing I'm delivering bad info to you guys, but I know I'm better than that. And that starts with a big week 15. I know there's still plenty of time to turn this season around. We did it last year. We're doing it again. Let's dive in. Let's have a big week 15. And when I post some other videos, which there's already one live where we go through, you know what's funny? When I'm thinking about it, I normally stink at spreads and totals. Normally that's not my calling card, which is why I don't do a lot of them. This season, I've been him at spreads and totals. I'm like up 30 wins over losses, betting on every single game. And I don't really bet all of them, but this season we can't figure it out on props, but spreads I've been dialed in on. Just tough. But either way, appreciate you guys for tuning in. That's eventually going to correct its course. Let's have a week 15. I'll see you guys in other videos. And when they're live, there'll be links somewhere on the screen. Good luck. Let's have a week. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.